A pleasant good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Our guest menu for April the 27th, and boy, this year's going fast. It is. Coach Terrence Graves joins us live from Houston, Texas. He's going to join us and give his update, his thoughts on spring practice that ended a week ago. He'll join us. Also, our usual panel, Charles Edmond, Coach Vann Pettaway, AD Willa Brown, and scheduled to join us as well, Morgan Williams. Here's simply what's trending, and we've got about 5 things that are trending on this week's edition of the Coles Brown Show. Roman Banks receives a 3-year extension as the Director of Athletics at Southern University, approved by the board. We'll get into the particulars of that. Tomeka Reed, former Jackson State women's basketball coach, she resigns from Jackson State to take on her new job at the University of Charlotte. Also, UAPB hires Erica Leak as their new women's basketball coach. Southern University got swept by Texas Southern last week in the battle first place. 4 games to 0. We'll get into that as well. But the Jaguars did pick up another win because they stayed in Houston for quite a while against Prairie View A&M yesterday. Last, number 5, the NBA playoffs continues, and I can't wait to talk with Coach Pettaway and the panel about some of the particulars that are going on in the NBA playoffs. That's what's trending on the Coles Brown Show. Now, we're joined by the panel. Willa Brown, via Baltimore, Maryland, Coach Vann Pettaway. And rumor has it that Willa Brown is a hardliner. Not all the time. Not all the time. Willa, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good afternoon. Well-deserved reputation, I might add.
Okay. And Coach Vann Pettaway. Coach, good morning to you. How you doing, sir?
Good morning, Carlos. Everything's going great. Nice to see you and Willa Brown.
And wait a minute, I'm looking. Where's Charles Edmond? I don't see him. Well, I guess he will join us if he cares to do so. But we look forward to talking with Charles Edmond as well. Now, we're going to get into the what's trending. And Coach Banks, I refer to him as Coach Banks, former Southern University men's basketball coach. He receives a 3-year extension, and it was some questions, some concerns about his contract. Will he be back? The Southern University Board of Supervisors, they say yes. And here are some of the particulars. It's a 3-year contract with a 4th-year option. But, Willa, you can appreciate this. $275,000 year 1, year 2, and year 3. And, of course, an additional 1-year contract compensation, which would be $275,000. Now, with some of the incentives, and we won't bore you with too many details, but he has performance goals. Athletic director will receive extra compensation amount of $7,500. if the men's basketball team wins the regular season SWAC championship. 5,000 if men's basketball team wins the SWAC regular season championship. $5,000 for each round of progressions in the NCAA basketball tournament. You get the drift. And that's all with basketball. And there's a couple more. Football, 7,500 if the men's football team wins the SWAC championship game. 5,000 if the football team competes in the SWAC championship game. 7,500 if the men's football team wins the SWAC Celebration Bowl. So these are incentives. They have incentives in baseball, softball, academic performance. If they meet the APR set by the NCAA, APR of 90% of the benchmark, that's a nice $10,000 bonus. Maybe I'm in the wrong field. Other sports, no. I'm in the right field, working with kids, artistic kids. That is. I'll leave that to you, Willa. The tough job of AD. And then, of course, you got other sports, different compensations, compliance with the NCAA. Wheeler, that is, I think, a very nice contract with incentives and $275,000. Now, some people will say, is that earned? Well, Coach Banks came in during a tough time with the academic progress report. Southern University compliance had problems with that. He added more personnel to help with that. That's no longer a problem. And so it's different incentives if they win, get to the Celebration Bowl, different sports, as I kind of gave you a brief synopsis of all of that. With that being said, I expected to see a big smile on your face, but I don't see one. But anyway, that is I don't know what everybody else is making in the conference as far as director of athletics, but I would think that is near the top. That may be better than
He's
some
got
of.
to be. He's got to be up there near the top, Carlos. There's no doubt about that.
What do you mean?
He's
When you
got
say
to be.
near, you talking about top 3 or 4, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's in that upper third.
Yeah,
He's
because
in
he's
that upper
not.
third by far. There's no
Yeah,
doubt about that.
yeah.
And you just you don't begrudge anybody for getting what they can when they can,
Mm-hmm.
because we know that this business is very fickle. And a lot of times you here today and gone today. So you want to try to get what you can when you can. Uh, it's just me. I have never been a big fan of the little bonus structure for paying you for what you're supposed to be doing.
Hmm.
Kids are supposed to graduate. Coaches are supposed to win. I mean, so for me to get 5,000 because Coach Graves beats Grambling. I mean, you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to begrudge anybody from getting what they can. Simply because like I said, you're here today, gone today, and we know how folk are liable to turn on you real quick. As you stated, there were probably some question marks from some alums, that sort of thing. The jury's still out, probably in terms of the Coach Graves hire. Naturally, he hadn't won a game yet. So I mean, the jury's still out football wise in terms of whether or not that will transpire into a great hire. Although it looks great right now, there's no doubt about that.
Mhm.
And I think he hit a home run men's basketball wise. I think they're on the right track and
Mhm.
headed in the right direction. No doubt about that. Your old standards such as baseball and softball, those guys are, always in the conversation, that sort of thing. So, you got to be pleased from that point of view. It's just a matter to me of where things sit in the grand scheme of things. I as an AD, I gotta look out for my people. When I say my people, I'm talking about my assistant ADs, my associate ADs, that sort of thing. And, you know, uh, uh, where do they fit in terms of this slice of the pie?
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point in time, you got good people, you're going to lose them if you don't take care of them, if they don't feel that they're being valued, that sort of thing. And, when they see me sign a fat contract and, there's nothing, no trickle down in terms of, for them, that sort of thing, then that becomes an issue. So if I'm taking my bonus money or what have you, and, I'm spreading it amongst my, staff people, that sort of thing, then, those are the kind of things I will be more adept to in terms of showing my support staff that they're doing a great job, that I really appreciate what they're doing, that sort of thing. So that's pretty much where I'm at, Carlos.
Right.
And Coach Pettaway, I saw
Yeah.
your expression. You had something to say.
Yeah. I think Coach Banks deserves the extension. I think he's done an outstanding job. Uh, and I know for a fact he's probably in the top four when it comes to salary, but he's not at the top. I know that, but that's deserving. And all ADs, most of the ADs I've been around, and even when I was AD, we had performance bonuses in our contract. And then as a coach, you definitely want to stack that contract with bonuses. Now Wheeler Brown is sort of like one of the presidents we had one time. Uh, Dr. Capers, she took out all academic clauses in our contract because she said just what Wheeler said. We're supposed to be graduating our kids anyway. So she took that out, but then when she left, the next president put them back in the contracts. So I think anytime you can incentive-based contracts, I think it helps everybody. It helps the coaches. It helps the student athletes, because if we got those incentives in there on the academic side, I'm going to make sure that my kids are doing what they need to do in the classroom. As a coach, you're going to do that anyway because you need them on the court. You need them to play for you. So they got to be eligible. So you got to give them the resources, number one. Then you have, as a coach, you got to make sure you're giving them the time to get these academics in, to get to study hall, to visit with the tutors and that kind of stuff. So I'm happy for Coach Banks. I've been knowing him for years, and he is well as deserving to have an extension. Look at his extension now, Carlos. 3 years and an option.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't your coaches have the same thing? The minimum of 3 years. Minimum of 3 years.
Coach
With an
Pettaway.
option. That gives you a recruiting class. But Carlos, we're not going to start it. We're not going to get it started this morning, Carlos. Okay? We're not going to start this morning, Carlos.
Wait, Coach Pettaway, you look right at me when you said that. Is that because of what Southern University, huh? They will not live that down. They will not live that down. But did you see that comment what EA just said?
Yeah. That's Wheeler.
He's talking about Wheeler.
Yeah, he working with the teachers. He working with the teachers,
man. and I thought I was a hard liner. No. but much is given as much as expected, and it is a tough job. And Coach Banks, he didn't do it by himself. He made some decisions to bring in some people and his staff. And I'm gonna reach out to him and see if they'll come on. There's always things that you try to improve on, facility upgrades, Title IX, making sure the women student athletes have equal representation and facilities and what have you. So I get it. It is tough. But that's why I go back to much is given much is expected, and with those incentive in the contract, you got to put your best foot forward, and you got to have a
But
good staff.
Carlos,
It's,
the bottom line is this.
mhm,
I'm not going to try any harder because those incentives are in the contract. I'm going to give my
mhm,
customary hard performance each and every day.
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
giving my best each and every day, regardless of whether or not, there's an incentive attached to it or what have you. I mean, I'm full steam ahead, regardless.
mhm,
And I'm
mhm,
pushing the coaches full steam ahead. And I'm pushing the student athletes full steam ahead. We're
mhm,
going at this thing like ain't none of us getting paid.
mhm,
That's just how, I've always looked at the job in and of itself. And
mhm.
so I mean, we always got to go at it and approach it in that light, I think.
No, I understand. Sometimes incentives helps out because your economic situation may be that you can't give big raises on a yearly basis. But if I can, when I can give some incentives, it shows that I appreciate you. Not saying that you don't appreciate them beforehand, but an extra will help in the long run. But Wheeler, you just got that. You're a hardliner, accept it, and that's the way it is. Charles, you joined us. We're talking Coach Banks, a 3-year extension with an option of a fourth year, 275,000 base salary and incentives galore. And I guess Wheeler, is that a standard, Charles? I think you would if you look in each ADs, each university, I think you'll see something similar.
You
Yeah,
might see
for I
some.
don't know if that's. I'm sorry. I don't want to.
Go ahead, Charles.
I don't want to interrupt.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning,
Interrupt.
everybody.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's Wi-Fi issues here. I don't know what's going on. You want to wake up this morning, but glad to be here. Of course, sorry to be on so late. Hey, Southern University Board of Supervisors,
Mm-hmm.
congratulations, job well done. I have been on record as saying that I've been a big Roman Banks fan, and Carlos, you know my theory on this, going all the way back a decade or so when the student athlete certification, you put back and said you got to have a good compliance staff to do that. Yes, you do, but who's the leader of that? That athletic director. So during that time, for me personally, this is just my own personal opinion, he represented athletics very well during a very dark time in Southern athletics. So I was sold back in. Now it was kind of a bumpy road with the coaches in football, Jason Rollins, and you go back to Dooley and all that. He took some hits on that, swings and misses on that, but then he got some base hits for some of the other hires. Funches has done well. You look at baseball and some of the other stuff. So I think back and forth, do you really want to make a change right now, considering maybe the upward trajectory of student athletics? Because let's be honest, bringing a new voice, it's gonna change. A new AD might come in and just blow it up. You never know. So I think Southern to me is on a positive trajectory. I think Roman Banks has been that voice, he's been that face, and I don't think he's done anything wrong where you could say it's time to make a change. I think you continue on the path. You give them a few more tools in the toolbox, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with Coach Graves. I know he's coming on, so I think I am very, very pleased as a SWAC fan to see that Roman Banks is going to continue as that leg director. Now let's see what he does from here.
Now I will say, as far as how can I put this, I think going forward, if you look in athletic departments, I think I'll put it this way. I think it would help if you can bring on someone with a strong business background to help out scholarships, bringing in more corporate sponsors. To me, if I was going forward, say tomorrow, and let's say if Coach Banks decided he retired or want to do something else, I would, just my opinion, I would like to see someone with a very strong business background. And that's just my opinion. People may agree with that, disagree with that. And the reason I say that, well, I knew you would, Willa, but let me finish. Because college athletics is forever changing, and it's from on a financial perspective. It costs. It
Right.
really does.
But
Go ahead, Coach
Carlos,
Pettaway.
from a coaching standpoint, I'd rather have a AD who has coaching experience, because they'll understand the plight of the coach better. Now, in terms of the financial side, I will hire an assistant that has that background in either fundraising or marketing, or that can go out and get the corporate dollars. If the athletic director does not have that, if that's not their forte, but I think most coaches prefer a athletic director who has been in the grind before. In other words, a former coach, so that they know the ins and outs. Because that outside business person, if they've been on the business side of things their entire life, sometimes they have no understanding, especially even if they were not even an athlete. Now, if they were not an athlete, that's even worse, because they don't know what to expect, or what the kids have gone through, and what the coaches have to go through. So I think that the person with that athletic background would be more sympathetic to the needs and the wants and desires of the coaching staff. And that's just me.
No,
I agree. I agree with Coach Pettaway. I agree with Coach Pettaway 100%. I think that you can find somebody out there, Carlos, with the kind of background that you would want from a financial point of view. That person is out there, and on most staffs, I know when I was at Jackson State, I had a business guy, that was just strictly for athletics, and he was great. I mean, couldn't ask Dr. Woods, couldn't ask for better. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. Probably the best business guy in all my years of being in college athletics that I've ever been around. I's and T's, dotted and crossed, that sort of thing, whole 9 yards with that. But from the head person point of view, I'm in agreement with Coach Pettaway. Is there's no experience like having sat in that seat. If you sat in that first seat before, you know when to approach a coach and when not to approach a coach. You know that there's certain times of the day or certain times game wise, that sort of thing, where you don't get in a coach's way. You get out of the way and let them do their particular jobs. Whatever it is that you need to speak to them about, that just has to wait, that sort of thing. But you know these things because you've been through those things yourself, and you know how you would like to be treated as a head coach. So I had always considered myself a coach's AD. Always took a lot of pride in that sort of thing. And I think if you speak with any coaches that I've worked around, that sort of thing, they'll probably tell you the same thing. They wouldn't have a more sympathetic person in their corner than Wheeler Brown. At the same time, Carlos, hey, you're holding folk accountable for getting that job done. So that onus is not slack by any means. But you are sympathizing with them because you've been through a lot of those things they've been through, and you know what it takes and what they're trying to do in order to reach the level that they're at. And I think the kids appreciate that a little bit more also. When the student athletes know, that you've played the sport, at as high a level as you can play it, that sort of thing, then that makes a difference. I think to them, they kind of look at you in a different light, that sort of thing, and I just think all those things kind of help.
Okay, well, good point, good counterpoint. Well, let me say this: as an assistant, fine, don't have a problem with that. If there's an AD, I just said going forward, Banks is now. He gets all of the X's, the boxes. He checks all of the boxes now. I still want to have that person on in some kind of position. Also, if an AD that has experience as a former athlete that also has a business background, I want them as well. I'll leave it at that.
I feel you.
I want my cake and eat it too. How about that? That's what I'm saying. Oh boy, that's just the first
long
thing.
as more than 2 years, Carlos. Long as more than 2 years.
You Coach Pettaway sound like I was in favor of 2 years. No. I'm telling you, that's how Southern was doing business. It's not me. Not me. But on the same token, I'm not giving 5 and 6 years. Oh no. And speaking of that, it wasn't on the docket. Johnny Jones got a nice big extension to 2029.
Wow.
I believe.
That's
awesome. And then sometimes change is not bad. Sometimes you got to evolve and adapt. Something, in our community, sometimes we have traditions that's over 50, 60 years. But sometimes tradition is not right. So you got to be open-minded, Wheeler and Charles, to be able to evolve and get things done.
Yep. I think that's awesome. That's
somebody
awesome.
mentioned me in the comments. Let me read it right quick. Go ahead, Charles. Oh, Carlos, that position, assistant AD of corporate
speaking of Texas Southern, that was going to be my next.
Is the most important position in the athletic department. Thank you, EA. We think alike. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of that, Texas Southern's one that I can think of right off the bat, in which they have someone that's working in athletics that does a corporate sponsorship, working with the athletic director. And so, when you go to the basketball arena, you see some of the sponsorships there. He's responsible for a lot of that stuff. So he works with athletics, and that's someone that I don't know about the other schools, don't know, but I know at Texas Southern, because I know him personally, that he is one that does that for Texas Southern. So I think, with that, I don't disagree with it. I think that's something that's needed. The question, though, is how much do you spend in that office, in that unit, to make it happen? You're going to have to pay a salary. Is it going to require one person? Or is it going to require a team of people? You got to have boots on the ground, not just boots on the ground. How many do you need in the office to make that functional, to make it flow? There are no guarantees, even if you have one person or 4, but is it more boots on the ground better? And so I think that for me, and Carlos, you're right. You want to have someone with that business background, but you also want to have that in a whole nother unit in the athletic office, and let the AD do his thing and let marketing and sponsorship office do their thing. Can we afford to do that? And then as far as Johnny Jones is concerned, I think Johnny Jones is deserving of whatever they give him. Whatever they give him, he's deserving of it. The money he brings in for guarantee games, that's totally funding his shop. Whatever they give Johnny Jones is very much deserving of it. The tournament championships and winning a little bit in the NCAA tournament and all of that stuff, what he's done for TSU basketball, he's deserving of it all. So I'm happy for Johnny Jones and that crew, because what he's done at TSU has been outstanding. And I wasn't sold on Johnny Jones, Coach Pettaway, when he first got there. I thought he was kind of a different guy than Mike Davis, but Johnny Jones grew on me really quick. He's kind of more laid back. Mike Davis is the fire and brimstone coach. He won. He was successful. Johnny Jones, a polar opposite, but got the same results, if not more. So I'm looking for Johnny Jones in that regard.
And Charles, I've always been a proponent of, when it comes to that assistant AD for marketing position or that fundraising position, my thing has always been, you want to start off with a base salary of 65, maybe 70,000, and but make it incentive laden, so that anything over 250,000, that person brings in, he gets between 3 and 5% of anything over 250,000, and then that way, you're making sure that, they're just not sitting around the office making phone calls and collecting a check, that sort of thing. You're giving them something to want to go out there and beat the pavements on, that sort of thing. So, if they bring in enough to pretty much double their salary or, get close to triple their salary, then you want to start doing some incentive laden type things for them after that to keep them on the hustle, keep them out there going strong.
Right. And Carlos, somebody just mentioned, somebody just asked about the relationship between the AD and the president if the president is not with athletics. If your president does not understand the importance of athletics, your athletic department is not going to thrive like it should. And I could just speak on Alabama A&M. We just got, since Paul Bryan has been there, they just got people in the athletic department for marketing and things like that. Now, since he's been there, Alabama A&M is just now has allowed him to do that.
Wow.
I want to say we went from 4 people in administration to like maybe 10. We might be up to 10 people now. And that's never been done in the history of A&M until A.D. Bryan got in there. So I think all of that goes back to when we always talk about the top. If your president is not for athletics or doesn't understand, let me take that back. If your president does not understand athletics, your athletic program is in trouble. Because the things that you need to run that department, you're not going to be able to get them because they don't understand that. If they're more, if they've been on that educational side and that's all they want to do, that athletic program is going to struggle.
And then Charles, you mentioned, can you afford to?
So Pettaway, can
you afford not to?
In Huntsville, I saw the picture.
What did Charles say?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Charles,
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Charles, we're going to get you to log out and then log back in. It's kind of been difficult hearing you. But Charles was saying, can you afford to do some of the things? I asked, can you afford not to? Right.
I
mean, it's important.
Carlos, in today's climate, you got to be open-minded because athletics has changed, man. If our presidents don't come on board, we all gonna get left behind, man. Because the landscape of athletics has changed so much. But man, if you're not looking at NILs, if you're not looking at how this portal has affected stuff, man, we gonna get lost in the shuffle. So the presidents have to become more knowledgeable about what's going on in athletics, not just just look around the country, not just in the SWAC.
Yeah, I agree. It's always an interesting conversation when we talk about these things, but it started, if you're just tuning in, Coach Banks gets a 3-year extension, $275 base salary with incentives incorporated in. He could make well north of $320,000 with incentives. So with that being said, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, Tomeka Reed resigns at Jackson State. Now she's at the University of Charlotte. Will, it'll be interesting to get your take on it. I'll say this. I'm happy for her. She earned it. She deserved it. She left the program in better shape than when she came there. And so now where do you go next, Jackson State? We'll dip into it a little bit more. And then also UAPB hires a women's basketball coach. We'll get into that as well. You're watching the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. We shall return.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Carlos Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button. We appreciate it. Notifications for this show, Black College Sports Network, all of the shows on this network. We have Charles back, Willa Brown, Coach Pettaway. What's trending number 2? Tomeka Reed leaves JSU, University of Charlotte. Some people in my text group, they congratulated her. Some said maybe is that really a step up for her. Some thought it was a lateral movement, but congratulations to Tomeka Reed. She deserved it. She earned it. And I wish her the most and much success at her next stop, Coach Pettaway. She definitely deserved it. And she left Jackson State in much better shape.
Right. I agree, Carlos. When I heard the announcement, I was happy for her. I think she's been one of the up and coming coaches. She's proven herself over a 5 or 6 year period. And now the person that said that it wasn't a move up for her, I
Well,
don't know what
yeah,
they think about it, what they're looking at now. Because
and they question it, was it a lateral move?
no, under no circumstances is this a lateral move. She's doing things right now that could only help her career. She did all she could. She did as much as she probably could at Jackson State, and it was time. And this was perfect timing, And all Charlotte has to do now, going into this new situation, she's coming in there after the signing period now. So that means that she may not have the luxury of going out getting her own people for this upcoming year. But in terms of her X's and O's, the coaching aspect of it, they got them a great one because she can get the job done. I have admired her over the years, and I'm happy for her. No, I don't think there's another a better deserving person in the SWAC to take a job like that. She has done it. She's put Jackson State on the map, and she's also secured her place in history in the SWAC.
And Willa Brown, she's reported that she's going to be bringing a staff with her. She's going to increase her salary. No, she's not asking me what kind of contract she should get. In this case, the length of it probably will be 4 to 5 years. I would think 5 years, correct?
At least 4, Carlos, no doubt about that. At least 4. And, she's following a semi-successful coach. I think the young lady that was there prior to her got the job at Marquette, so that says a lot, right there. And, I think probably for Tomeka, probably one of the huge deciding factors may have been support. When I say support, we're just talking things like, locker rooms and facilities. And, naturally, she ain't got to play no guarantee games now. And, she's going to be traveling in a close to a first-class manner as possible. There are going to be more plane trips than there are bus rides for the most part. And, so I think, from that point of view, she's not going to have to fill out her own paperwork for travel and all that stuff. And, so, I mean, you got I's and T's dotted and crossed for you so that you can concentrate more on the task at hand, which is coaching and recruiting and winning basketball games, as opposed to a lot of the other ancillary stuff that, coaches on our level have to go through. So, my question becomes, Carlos, at some point in time, and I'm being a hardliner, ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
I'm glad you finally admitted
it. What can we do? What can we do on our level, on the HBCU level, in order to kind of even that playing field from that point of view? Because I'm almost willing to guarantee, salary-wise, from what was reported that Jackson State offered her, which is like $250 and some change, I think, per year. The salary-wise probably going to be close to the same. I mean, and so, all other things being equal, what is it that we can do on our level in order to sweeten that pot and in order to keep good people? Because we can always say, Carlos, and I'm a big proponent of this, that they leave the job better than it was when they got the job. I'm always one to say that. But am I really using that as an excuse for losing a good person? And what is it can I do in order to kind of shape that narrative, kind of turn that thing around a little bit? So, I get good people, I can pay them well. What other things can I do to make them want to stay here with me on my level? Just a thought. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Coach Pettaway, what do you think?
Yes. He's right. He's right. A lot of times it's not always about the money. It's the other things. And what I like about it is that she's felt strongly enough about her staff that she's going to take them with her. I think that's great. That means she's going to hit the ground running in a new environment, but she's going to feel a comfort level because she's got people around her that she's familiar with. So I just think it's great. And I know Charles is a fan of Tomeka, so I know Charles had to be happy for this.
Yep, I have 3 words to start off: a class act.
Yep.
That's what Tomeka Reed was. She was a class act. Now, she was very strongly opinionated. We know when she played in the LSU regional, the loss that game, she said she's just not satisfied with knocking at the door. She wants to kick the door in and all of that. And you applaud her for that because she is trying to promote her program, trying to promote HBCU basketball, SWAC women's basketball. I applaud her for that. I'm happy for her. To be perfectly honest, I'm surprised that she stuck around as long as she did. And we don't, she talked about some of the offers that she had during this offseason. Tulane, she interviewed, and some other stuff. She talked about that when she met with the legislature here in Mississippi. So there were some people, at her heels, whether she's going to get the job or not. Obviously, she didn't. She felt like Charlotte was the better, was a good fit for her. So a class act. I just always felt over the last 2 or 3 years, Tomeka Reed did all that she could do there as far as what the product showed: wins, losses, NCAA tournament appearances, SWAC championships, SWAC tournament championships. The only thing left was, I guess, get to the NCAA tournament and win a game or 2, if you could do that. And she had a chance to do that against LSU. Couldn't get it done. But I think she did all she could do at Jackson State. The question was, what more could Ashley Robinson could have done? The Williams Activity Center renovated, new video board, and all of that. I think Ashley Robinson tried to elevate facilities because that's important. But in terms of the other stuff, I think she had a good staff. I think she had a good number of staff. She'll probably have more at her disposal there at Charlotte, I'm sure. But I just think that she did all that she could do there. And now it's time for the next challenge. And I don't think you can knock her for it. You can't criticize her for it. Personally, I think she probably should have been gone a couple of years ago, to be honest, because there is, and I hate to say this because I'm a SWAC lifer, but I guess it is for any situation. There's a ceiling. There's a ceiling at every place. And so for the conference, as far as the SWAC is concerned, salary-wise, there is a ceiling where you've done all you can do, and now you're looking for the next challenge. And I think Tomeka Reed was at that point. And so congratulations to her. The program's in a better place, a better space. And I think Wheeler Brown brought up a really good point. What more can you do to improve a program? Well, facilities is always the big thing. NIL now is a part of it. Cost of attendance, we talked about that. Those are the things that you can do to improve. Salary, that's going to take care of itself, I think. More staff, Carlos, you talk about taking care of the staff. That's got to still have to happen. But from a facility standpoint, I think that's the next thing. The Williams Activity Center has been renovated and all that. It looks good. It always has. But what's the next step in trying to improve the women's basketball program to where it's going to continue to get good coaches, better coaches? Because I think Jackson State's now at the level of like Texas Southern. You look at what Cynthia Cooper did when she was there. You look at that arena. You look at the women's basketball offices. It's better than it was 5 or 6 years ago. So Dr. Granger and that administration is improving. And Ashley Robinson, I think, is trying to do the same thing. Whether it can happen or not, I don't know. But I think that's the next step if you want, a good coach. And I think the challenge for Ashley Robinson is, I think that's the next question. Tomeka Reed's done what she can do. But now what kind of coach Ashley Robinson is looking for? He's always been a swashbuckler to me. Deion Sanders, classic example. What's he going to do as far as getting another coach that's going to keep that program at a high level? Because the fans are going to expect that same level of service with the next coach than what Tomeka Reed brought to the table. Program's in a lot better place. What's a good coach that can fit that mold?
Well, I think from what's in place, that's from the outside looking in, the next coach can be successful. He or she will have things in place. You can always improve. Coach Reed, it was time. She's done all that she can do. It was time. Simply change sometimes is difficult. Sometimes we don't like to change, but change sometimes can be a good thing. And I think they'll do well, Jackson State. And this one Southern alum hopes they nail it so that basketball rivalry can continue on the women's side. I haven't forgotten. I haven't forgotten. So that's why I look at that one. So I wish her the much success. Erica Leak played at the Washington Mystic, played at Louisiana Tech. Now UAPB hires Erica Leak behind Dawn Thornton Brown, who, by the way, I was kind of going on the internet and looking at the Clarion Ledger. Potential replacements for Jackson State. You're talking about letting the genie out the bottle, young man. He mentioned Dawn Thornton Brown, a possible replacement at Jackson State. I understand Coach Pettaway.
No.
And then Coach Gilbert. Do you know if that were to happen? Hadn't been there. I don't even want to think about that. But crazier things have happened in college athletics.
Right. Now I'm gonna go back to Erica Leak first. I was happy to see her resume. West Memphis. She was our Arkansas Coach of the Year in 2023. The 19th pick in the WNBA draft back in 2005. And then she was a full-time WAC all-conference performer at Louisiana Tech. So I think in terms of being in the state of Arkansas, she's got what it takes to have established herself where she can get. She got connections. Recruiting should be a big thing for her now because she is a native of Arkansas. So that should help. But now in terms of your source that thinks that Tomeka
wait, Coach Pettaway. It was a beat writer for the Clarion Ledger. He put out a potential list. Let me put it that way.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and see, one of the things that I was rejoicing in, we just heard that Deion Sanders' daughter is coming into to Alabama A&M. So I felt that perhaps after January during the SWAC season, Prime might make an appearance. And so I was hoping.
Well, I heard Coach Pettaway.
My question is this, Coach Pettaway: can she play? Can she play? That's the bottom line. Can she play?
I have no earthly idea. No, they say she's a pretty good high school player now.
But Coach Pettaway, I read an article this morning that says he's not happy that she's decided to transfer to Alabama A&M.
Yeah, because that's going to put pressure on Daddy. Daddy got to go see the baby play.
Oh, come on, Daddy. Your career has been over athletically for 30, 40 years. Let them go. Free them. Let them go.
Yeah. But that is going to be, coming from Boulder to Huntsville, that's going to be a challenge for him. But I was happy to hear that, and I hope it's true. And then I did read some things that said that she was a pretty decent high school player, and that there was talk at one time that she wasn't even going to go to Jackson State because she had some other offers, and then she pulled the trigger at the last minute to go to Jackson State. So we'll see, but you got to look at it now. She sort of redshirted that first year at Jackson State, and then when she went out to Colorado, she did not play that much. So the jury's still out on her in terms of the talent level.
Well, it doesn't hurt to have a famous last name, I guess.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can get you in places that others can't, but I'll stop right there.
Clickbait, Carlos. Clickbait.
Well, you said that, Will. I would have addressed it a little bit differently, but
Carlos, to go back to Don, if I guarantee you, if the Alabama A&M job and the Jackson State job was open at the same time, I think I know where she would be.
Man, say that again.
She would go home. Ain't no doubt about it. She'd go home.
If the Alabama A&M job and the Jackson State jobs were open at the exact same time, I have no doubt in my mind where Don would be.
She go home. Ain't no doubt.
Yep.
You don't get an argument from me on that. But sometimes life is all in the timing.
Yeah, that's
as
right.
they
That's
say,
what they
yeah.
say. Timing is everything. Timing is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of timing, we've got about 3 minutes left, so let's tease a little bit. The NBA playoffs continue, and all I'm going to say, I got a couple of things. I predicted my Miami Heat with the injury with Jimmy Butler to maybe win one game, and I still predict Boston to win it. But got blew out by 20. It looked very dark and despair. Miami Heat win by 10 without Jimmy Butler. Oh, boy. Now, the point guard they picked up from Charlotte, he's injured. Sometimes in the Charles Barkley and Shaq, they were talking about it. Coach Pettaway, talent versus execution.
Yeah.
We would all check the box talent-wise, Boston.
Right.
Execution and toughness, Miami.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this will make Boston better in the long run because I still predict them to get to the championship. But talent versus execution and toughness. Great win for the Miami Heat. And Miami just ran Boston off the 3-point line, and Coach Pettaway, they still are stubborn. When it's not working, they will not go inside. And you got a 7'3" guy now. And I think Boston's biggest challenge is themselves sometimes. But anyway, 2 minutes left. Quick talk about.
I think you're correct, but I'm being honest. Now you said up front that you said you predicted Miami would win one of the games. They got that under the belt, so you should feel pretty good about it now. But overall, right, Boston will win it. I think Boston will come out of the East. Now, when you talk about talent, the Suns have more talent than the Timberwolves. The Suns have, but they're losing.
But wait a minute, Coach Pettaway.
Hold on now.
No, go ahead. Then I got a point of what I said last week.
Okay, no. I'm saying you got guys on that Suns team that are all NBA. Mm-hmm. You don't have that on the Timberwolves. The youth and the size of the Timberwolves are bringing the Suns down. The sun is setting in Phoenix.
well, and to your point, Coach Pettaway, I asked a question: would the youth of OKC and Minnesota beat out experience?
Right.
I was wrong. I thought it would hinder them. Oh, I'm dead wrong.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Dead wrong.
And then, of course, Indiana beat Milwaukee last night in overtime, and to me, that's to be expected. As long as Giannis is not on the floor, I don't give Milwaukee a shot at that. And then Dallas beat the Clippers 101-90.
That got kind of chippy there, and
right.
I did predict Indiana to beat Milwaukee as a huge upset, but.
And then the Lakers. They need to pick their destination. I don't know if it's going to be Bermuda or they need to pick a tropical destination because they'll be ready to go there real soon. In fact, it might be as soon as the next game.
No, they need to take one of them Alaskan cruises.
Right.
And I tell you something, you hear everybody, and we kind of talked about it a little bit. In the playoffs, the stars are going to be stars, but I'm looking for those others, and we saw it in Miami's win. Phoenix, the others. Phoenix has no bench. Their bench production was 33 points, and so their big three got the points, but it's the others who you would like to see elevate during the playoffs. And Charles, the Lakers, it's.
Carlos, I'm gonna use a quick phrase. You in the streets, you hear the phrase, "Man, they are straight garbage." Then you get a little ghetto on, and they say, "Man, they are straight garbage."
Yeah,
that's what the Lakers are. Straight garbage. That's what the Lakers are right now. Straight.
But
garbage.
Denver is just the better team. I
They
don't know
are
if I would
good.
say garbage with LA, but
Yes, the Lakers are. You saw what happened the other night. A player not even on the bench, sitting there, not even paying it to D'Angelo Russell. Time to move on from that. I think LeBron is disinterested. Anthony Davis is playing lights out. Lakers just don't have it, man. It's time to do something. I know fans are blaming Darvin Ham. I don't necessarily think that's necessarily the problem, even though he's probably going to be the scapegoat. If LeBron wants him gone, he's out. Even though Jeannie Buss is pushing back. The reports are that they wanted Phil Handy to step in, and Jeannie Buss is pushing back. That's going to be a straight mess in the offseason. What is LeBron going to do? What's his Laker roster going to look like? So the Lakers, I mean, and now you got the Clippers in their new building starting next year. The Clippers are going to be running LA, not the Lakers for the time being, because the Clippers look really good. As far as your Heat are concerned, Carlos, hey, without Jimmy Butler, you got it done. But is it realistic to say they're gonna make 23 threes again? Probably not. Yeah. They're gonna take Tyler Hero. They're gonna diminish that a little bit, and then Jimmy Butler. I love Jimmy Butler. Quietly, a very business-like approach. But when he said, "Don't let us get one," I think you just poked the bear right there. Jimmy, I mean, he's not even playing.
Oh, well, wait a minute. The man's confident,
Well, I mean, it's one thing to be confident, but when you come out and say something like that, what you've done is Boston saying, okay, you got one. Now let's see. Now you put the pressure back on yourself to get it done at home. Now, Miami's a tougher team. Miami's tougher than Boston. I agree with that. But now to me, in my opinion, you put a little bit of pressure on yourselves without you to go out and try to get it done at home. They won one in Boston. They don't have to win another. Now you put pressure on yourself to get it done at home. And if you give it back to Boston, they're not giving it back. So I know we might be petty and messy about it, but I think Jimmy Butler, if you just kind of lay it low and just continue to be Jimmy Butler, I think that he could get to at home. But now you've given Boston some bullets board material. Don't let us get one. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's just me. That's just the way I'm looking at that now.
No, that's just being. Yeah, you are wrong. That's being petty.
Well, okay.
I mean, Jimmy Butler is being Jimmy Butler. That's who he is, and he's calmed down a lot since he was at Chicago and Philly.
Maybe I don't follow it enough because Jimmy Butler usually doesn't give you bulletin board material. He lets his play on the court speak for him. But for him to say that, it was kind of, at least for me anyway, personally. You followed more than me, but it's kind of odd for him to say that. I think getting one in Boston was magnificent. But for him to come out and say that, I wouldn't have done that if I were him. Hey, we got one. Let's go home and let's build on this momentum.
Yeah. Hey, Coach Pettaway, I'm going to use his famous saying, Miami playing with house money.
There you go.
Not expected to do anything. I predicted Boston to win. And some people were asking me, you think Miami's going to win a game? It was a sweep.
Yeah.
And so, hey, I think the pressure's on Boston tonight. I expect Boston to come with their best shot after what happened. And in the last 10 games, they're 4-6 at home.
Mm-hmm.
Help me out, somebody. That's Boston.
Yeah.
They'll win the series.
Yeah. I think Boston is not very tough to me. I think they've got great pieces. I think they've got a decent coach. But when it's tough, when the rubber meets the road, there's certain teams that I think you can count on. Miami's one of those teams. I mean, the grit, the Pat Riley, the Spo, grit and grind, that's Miami. But Boston, to me, just is not a tough team to me. I thought the Lakers probably were that. They're not now. So I think if you're talking about the tough teams in the playoffs right now, I would say Miami. I mean, but again, it's 1-1. We'll see what they do at home with these two games.
I think Boston gets a split, Coach Pettaway, in Miami.
But look, but now when you talk about toughness, now the Knicks are tough too now.
Oh, yeah.
Leave out the Knicks now. They're very tough.
Yeah. Oh, here we go with the Knicks because Coach Graves hopefully will be joining us. Coach Pettaway, he's a big Knicks fan. Embiid, a 50-piece, and it's not 100%. I'm telling you, he is unguardable when he's in that paint. He likes to float out.
Yeah, and that is scary when you can be that dominant and you're not even 100%. That's scary.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, but yeah, mixed culture, toughness. Oh yeah, Pat Riley was there as well. In Miami. Yeah, I just thought it was just an excellent conversation. Talent, you could be the most talented. And Charles, I think Boston is learning to be tougher. They are talented and young.
Yeah,
They better hurry up.
Playoffs.
Miami is
a lot of time to learn.
Miami is going to put it this way: Boston will be better for this going up against Miami. What last 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
I'm tooting the green and white if you can't tell, because I still think they're gonna get it done.
I think Miami will win game 3. I think Miami will win game 3, and I don't think it'll be close. It's game 4 is the one that I want to see. The Heat got the momentum. They got a little mojo. They're at home, and I think they'll get game 3. It's game 4. We're gonna see where the rubber meets the road in game 4. That's the one I'm looking for. And I might be wrong, but I think the Heat get game 3. We'll see what happens in game 4. I think that's what's going to tell. That's going to really determine a lot to me.
I think Boston's going to be smart. Miami expect Boston's best tonight. That's just me. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to be looking for Coach Graves. He's scheduled to join us. You're watching the Coles Brown Show right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Itchy, squirmy, scratchy, family not getting clean? Get Charmin Ultra Strong. Go get 'em. It just cleans better. With a diamond weave texture, your family can use less while still getting clean.
Goodbye, itchy squirm.
Hello, cream bottom.
We all go. Why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
At Hampton Law, our primary goal is to provide non-traditional yet effective solutions and redefine the approach to client legal concerns. As your trusted legal advisor, we believe in sophisticated, personalized services that eliminate the confusion and complexity sometimes associated with legal matters. Our high standard for client care and concern, coupled with our extensive legal knowledge and skills, make Hampton Law a resource focused on the protection of the client's interest and overall goals. We value our clients and truly enjoy working with them. Visit thamptonlaw.com to conveniently schedule an appointment online. Tomeka Hampton Esquire, 1631 Rock Springs Road, Suite 336, Apopka, Florida, 407-494-1471. thamptonlaw.com.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
When it comes to professional learning, teachers deserve better. From the leader in online learning, Stride brings you the Stride Professional Development Center, an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that gives teachers choice and flexibility, allowing them to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. It's time you take charge of your learning. Visit us today to get started.
Yeah, yeah, Pat Riley. Yeah, Coach Graves coming on. He's a big Knicks fan. Yeah. Okay, we're back. Let me go, Pat. I'll talk to you later. Welcome back to the Coles Brown Show. Right here on the Black College Sports Network. I'm Coles Brown, joined by Willa Brown, A.D. Willa Brown, Coach Pettaway, Charles Edmond, and now we're going to bring in Coach Graves, head football coach at Southern University. And Coach Graves, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Carlos, Charles, Will, and Coach Pettaway. How y'all doing today?
All right, Coach. All right, Coach.
We're doing fine. Pat Riley wanted to know. I said, yeah, Coach Graves, a big Knicks fan.
He knows.
He's watching.
he knows.
Pat already knows.
Choked against the Bulls back in the 90s. Yeah. He knows.
Oh, hey, but Coach Graves, we get into some football talk, but the Knicks are doing well, man. They are much improved. Toughness.
Yeah, they playing well. I was disappointed the other night. Embiid should have got a flagrant 2. But that's that home cooking. But I'm still upset anyway because I'm like, come on, Tibbs, we got a guy that's on one leg. We gotta go at him. That's blood in the water for a shot. You gotta make him submit, break his will to compete.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be all right.
Yeah, you will. Coach Graves, thoughts on spring practice? We got Coach Frederick's point of view last week, but we want to hear from the head coach. So what are your thoughts post spring practice?
I thought it was really, really good spring practice. We accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. The biggest thing was guys came out. We didn't have major injuries, which was good. And then the goal was at the beginning, I kept getting asked the same question from before spring practice, during spring practice, and after spring practice. And the answer was the same. My goal was that all 3 phases of the game, we came out with a great understanding of all 3 phases of the game, and guys could execute it with a high level of success so that we would have a better chance of being successful going in the fall. And we did that. The goal and the mission was to number one, not have major injuries, and then those guys did a really good job of working hard and adjusting and grasping the scheme offensively of what Coach Frederick installed and implemented, and of course defensively Coach Miller put in some new wrinkles and stuff like that. And then Coach Todd is the special teams coordinator. He did a really good job of executing what he wanted to do special teams wise. So I thought it was a win-win for everybody.
And Coach Graves, I know you get this question all the time, and I know it's going to be the same answer. I kind of like from the outside looking in at quarterback, the competitiveness, and I like what you said. That job is still open, and it'll be determined later, fall camp, etc. Quarterback play. I know you get asked a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Your thoughts on it?
That's part of it. I don't have a problem with that, Carlos. It is wide open. I believe in, and I tell the team this all the time, we're living in a time where a sense of entitlement is at an all-time high with young people. And so you have to go and instill some of the old school upbringing to balance those guys out. So not only with the quarterbacks did a fantastic job. They did a really good job of learning what Coach Frederick was doing. Oh, Lord, here he come walking up now. But anyway, they did a really good job. I'm talking about you, Gump. They did a really good job of really executing what he wanted to do. Noah, of course, being the more experienced one, had probably got more reps than those guys, but everybody got reps. The 2 freshmen, T-Set and Woods, they got a lot of reps in the ones as well. I mean, those guys alternated. And some days Coach Frederick put those guys first. He made sure that they were comfortable. He didn't let them get comfortable thinking that, okay, we have a pecking order of, 1, 2, and 3 or whatever. All those guys had to go out and compete. And I say this, I'm not going to name a starter. Coach Frederick and those guys will name a starter at the appropriate time, because what you want, I got to ask the question, previous coach, he named his starter after spring ball. And I said, well, I'm not the previous coach, I'm Coach Graves, and we're going to do it the way that, I see fit, because I don't want guys to go through the summer thinking that somebody's ahead of somebody, and then they get complacent and don't work as hard, or a guy doesn't, he feels like, hey, I'm not the guy. And so everybody, not just the quarterback, Carlos, Charles, Wheeler, and Coach Pettaway, everybody has to earn their starting spots. Nobody has a starting spot. And I know some people say, oh, that's just coach speak, that's cliche. No, I mean that. When I coached under Coach Richardson, and I hate that here at Southern, we had guys that went out there first, but every day you had to compete. And you got graded every day. And if a guy graded out higher than you the day before, he won with the first team. And that's what we did. And those guys played it, and those guys understood that it was that competitive. And that's what we're doing at the quarterback spot, as well as all the other positions.
We're visiting with Coach Terrence Graves, head football coach at Southern University. And it's very interesting that you talked about a sense of entitlement. That's even a discussion that would take up another 30 minutes. But then you also say implementing the old school attitudes going forward. With that being said, was there any unit that really, other than quarterbacks, competed very well? I know you guys talked about bringing in some more help with the O-line, but the offensive line seems to be a lot of competition there as well, with perhaps not the full numbers that you're hoping to have when the summer gets in.
Oh yeah, we have some additions to offensive line. We've had some guys that have jumped in the boat since the portal has opened up. So offensive line, I'm feeling good about that. The offensive coaches, Coach Nivens, Coach Frederick, and all the offensive staff have done a tremendous job of addressing those needs. Wide receiver, first of all, I thought the offensive line did a tremendous job. You're talking about we had 12 guys, and we knew that before the spring started, and then we wound up with 10 because one had surgery and the other one, he decided that what we wanted to do was a little more than what he wanted to do, so we wished him luck. And so we went out there with 10 strong, and let me tell you something. Hats off to Coach Randall Moore, our strength and conditioning coach, and Dr. Jessica Robinson, our director of sports medicine, because they did a tremendous job of, number one, preparing our guys in the offseason. Coach Moore did an outstanding job. And then Dr. Rob, she made sure if somebody came up hobbled or whatever, she did a great job of rehab and getting them back there. We went through the spring with 10 offensive linemen, and all 10 played. We had 3 scrimmages, and of course the blue and gold game. The second scrimmage, we went 87 plays with 10 linemen, and nobody was to beat. In our blue and gold game, they went 130 plays, and nobody was to beat. So, you got to have numbers, but that speaks to the conditioning, and then it speaks to their commitment and their heart of going out there. And we didn't slack off what we wanted to do. I mean, we went full speed ahead, and those guys did everything. Coach Frederick and the offensive staff did a great job of scheming, and those guys learned, and they went at it. And I told them, hats off to them. The offensive line did a tremendous job of holding up for a spring. And it just goes to show you, when you have guys all in and bought in, the sky's the limit to what you can accomplish.
Right. And I know Coach Frederick talked about the staff he can lean on, and he especially mentioned Coach McNair. There you go. and he mentioned Coach McNair, somebody he can lean on to, and how has that been? Having Coach McNair, and I will admit, Coach Graves, I'm still getting accustomed to seeing him in blue and gold instead of the purple gold. But talk about that.
I tell you, Carlos, it's been a blessing, a tremendous blessing. It's been a great time here on the Bluff to have Coach Mack along with on the Bluff with the Jaguars and the coaching staff. He came in, he has no ego whatsoever, and he's having a blast. He's loving coaching. He and Coach Totten took a picture before the spring game, and he said that people were calling him and asking him, "Oh man, you look really happy." And he told them, "I am happy," and he's a fun guy. He likes to laugh. He laughs, and we have a good time. And we talk about the old days. He talks about his old days playing at Alcorn and Coach Dancy, and he imitates him, and we laugh, and he'll tell a story sometimes, and our faces will be wet because we laugh so hard. And we go to lunch together every day. Coach Frederick had told me that I find a new hiding spot because he comes down to my office and my door's open, not in there. And then I'm in Coach McNair's office, but I'm sitting in a corner where nobody can see when the door's open. So he said, "Oh, so this your new hiding spot now with Mac?" And I said, "Yeah." And, I tell you, I go in with Coach Mack, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I grill him. He'll tell you, I grill him. I ask him about, about how he ran his program, what he did, how he did certain things when it comes to organization, structure, discipline, recruiting. I'm talking about from A to Z. And we sit and we talk, and sometimes we'll look up and 2 hours are going by, and we talking about how he tells me all the time. He said, "Coach, you're doing a good job, man. You're doing a great job. I love how you're doing it the right way," and that's good because sometimes when you're sitting in the seat for the first time, you gotta do some things that's unpopular sometimes, make decisions. So, and then to have a championship coach and a great man like himself, comes and confirms and says, "Hey, Coach, you're doing it the right way. Hey, that's how you should do it. That's right, Coach. We're gonna be better because you're doing it this way or that way." So it's always good, and so it's been a plus. Myself, like I said, myself, Coach Totten, Coach Mack, Coach Frederick, Coach Burrell, sometimes Coach Jackson, all those pile up and we go to lunch, and then Coach Nivens. Sometimes it's the whole staff. So it's no, they rib each other because they SWAT guys, but at the end of the day, those guys are really working well together. They gel together. I like to see him on the practice field because he gets fired up and he gets after those guys, and it don't care. It don't matter what position it is, offense, defense, special teams. He sees something, he get him fired up, and I sit back and laugh. And I say, "Look at that." And I kind of mess with him. I fire him up. Now, I will say, when he and Coach Frederick gets together, it's 2-on-1 because, they say I'm a defensive guy. So, the blue and gold game, I'm standing in the back behind the offense. Now, I'm neutral. I ain't calling nothing. I ain't doing nothing. Coach Mack the whole game. Coach Fred, he's a defensive guy now. Coach Fred. What y'all talking about? We had 150 officials at the blue and gold game. And so I'm like, I'm doing nothing. But, they wore me out by being So, but it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing.
It is. And I'm sure he's got a chance to partake of some of the good food, Coach McNair, in Baton Rouge. I'm going to have to ask before we close what his favorite dish since he's been in Baton Rouge. I'm curious about that.
He likes a lot of stuff, but I'm going to tell you, we had Chicken Shack for post-game. Post-game, and he asked me, say, "Coach, where y'all get that chicken from?" I said, "Chicken Shack." "Oh, Coach, I got to have some more of that chicken." It's been really good, man. I tell you, I'm blessed beyond measure because God has blessed me with a great staff, a great support staff. I mean, everybody's in academics, equipment, strength and conditioning, every asset, every facet of running a program. Everybody's pulling in the same direction. So, the coaching staff is doing a great job. The players are buying in for the most part. We have some guys that we have to discipline, but that's part of it. And you're gonna do it the right way, or you're not gonna be a part of what I tell them all the time. It's hard to play here at Southern. It's hard to be a Jaguar. So we're not gonna lower the bar. The bar is raised. You have to reach the bar because we're not gonna lower the bar right now. And if you can't reach the bar, it's nothing personal. We understand everybody can't do it. We like the Marines. The few and the proud. So that's what we're gonna do. And so it's been great, and trying to finish these guys up with finals and making sure that they do a great job, finishing up strong academically, and starting to organize. Well, coaches will be getting out in the coming weeks, going out and recruiting, and then we'll come back in a few weeks. Summer school will start in June, I believe, and just try to get these guys ready to go for summer workouts and get ready for a long season.
Well, Charles, SWAC Football Media Day is coming up, and somehow I believe Coach Graves is going to be a hit because, I've seen it over the years. You have new coaches come in, some with big names behind them, and the press just is all over.
Yeah.
But I'm saying it right now, Coach Graves will win that crowd over in Birmingham because he's old school. And that's a good thing. Gentlemen, if you have a question for Coach Graves,
fire away.
Fire away. Come on, Charles. I know you got one. Let's go.
Well, now I think, Coach Graves, I know you've had a great spring, and now you get a chance to relax before summer school start. Well, at the end of regular school, but now you can enjoy your Knicks in the basketball game. And I think you and I have one thing in common. I like the toughness of the Knicks, and I think the Knicks, if given the opportunity, the Knicks will take down Boston for the simple reason their toughness. Correct. I think they're a tougher ball club than Boston. Boston may have more talent at some of the positions, but I think the toughness, that mindset of being the toughest on the floor, I think that's going to come to prevail for the Knicks.
I agree, Coach Pettaway. Hey, Carlos, you hear that?
Oh yeah. You see how I'm looking there? Yeah.
Yes.
You just forgot about Miami, but go ahead, Coach.
Toughness, baby. Toughness.
Yep.
And that is important. I go back again. It's funny that you mentioned about a sense of entitlement. But they ought to be afforded a chance to make mistakes, the younger generation.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to invest in them. Talk about, because you have been on the staff previously, but when you're now the head coach, I know you didn't change your attitude and stuff. Did any of the players, I know they were happy for you. Did you sense any of them, kind of like, Coach Graves now the head coach? Did any of those players change, or was it the same?
For the most part, I would say, Carlos, we probably had 99% buy-in. And I think the guys wanted me to be the guy when I became the interim. I know they were expressing that. They were expressing that when I was the interim going into the Bayou Classic. And, of course, after the Bayou Classic and up until me getting the job permanently, they would call, text constantly, Coach, what's the word? They come to me, Coach, what's the deal? Coach, Coach, are they going to give you the job? What you're hearing? Da-da-da. And I think I say all the time, relationships matter. I've always been a coach that's defense is the side that I coach on. when I was an assistant and a coordinator. But I've always been a coach for everybody. I've never been a coach that, because I'm a defensive coach, I don't talk to offensive players or stuff like that. I've always grew up under that old school. A coach is a coach for everybody, and not just football, but for all sports. You know, I interact and talk to all the sports and all the coaches. You know, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to become a coach, because a coach's influence on society is huge. You know, he has an impact in the community similar to the preacher. And so, you know, when you can impact that type of audience and those types of people and walks of life, then it makes you just does something for you. So I've always been a coach that coached everybody. And then because, you know, me being a special teams coordinator, then I got a chance to coach guys on both sides of the ball anyway. So I've already had relationships. So for the most part, it was easy. You know, you had your few malcontents, as we call them, and I told them from the time I took over, malcontents would not play at Southern University. And so, you know, you got guys. My father used to say, some people you tell and some you show. And most of them have been told and some have been shown. So, you know, and you wish them well. And you know, and I tell them all the time, discipline, we will never substitute discipline for talent. I don't care how talented you are. If you're not going to be disciplined, you can't be a part of our program. And I'll play against you before I play with you. So, and I mean that with every fiber in my body. And then I've gone as far to tell them, and I'm going to win 9 out of 10 times. So, because that discipline aspect of it, and the guys have been doing a really good job of doing what we ask them to do. Sometimes they a little slower than others, but we've been able to, you know, steer them in the right direction and do what we want to do. The attitude and the energy has really been great around those guys. You know, we talk about a sense of entitlement. A lot of them are used to going to practice with music playing all the time. And one week we practiced in on the grass practice field in Jaguar Park, and we didn't have the music over there, and guys were kind of moving around a little slow, and so I kind of started everything all over because I told them, hey, listen, music don't dictate how we play. I say you got to, whether there's no music, whether there's music all the time, and we got their attention. And then the next few days we went out there without music, and they did a tremendous job of really, you know, working hard, and the energy was high, and they kind of understood that. And then when we went back in the stadium, they had gotten so used to not having music for those 3 or 4 days of practice. When we got back in the stadium, the first day when we got back in the stadium, we didn't have music, and those guys were flying around and having a good day. And it got to a point where I had to tell the DFO coach, I said, hey, Rick, what the music? I started missing the music. So, hey, man, I need some music. So, you know, so but it's good. Those guys are doing a really good job of doing what we ask them to do.
Now, last thing, you're at a function now. We kind of talked about the things on the field, but now being a head coach, it's also important to. I've seen you talking at churches, going out in the community. Is there anything, and you seem to be a good fit of doing those things like community outreach? How important has that been to you? And do we see much more of that for the tenure of Coach Graves, going out and being out in the community, also selling your football program, and then also talk about your fundraiser that you're trying to, you know, have continuing with the football program?
Well, Carlos, my parents, the late Rufus Graves Sr. and Dorothy Graves, instilled in us to be to live a life outside of ourselves, and we always had to consider others and think about others and things of that nature. So, going outside of Southern University is a must. Our players are charged to do the same things, and we have players that are doing community service sometimes on a weekly basis, and that's a blessing to see them tie into that. Yes, I'm out in Houston now. We're having a fundraiser. I'm at the Houston Alumni 37th annual Crawfish Boil, which provides scholarships to university students. We had a function last night, a private function at the home of one of the former past national presidents, Mr. Mr. and Mrs. James Brown, and that was a very nice function there. I had a chance to see a couple of my former players and meet some the president, the local chapter, Houston chapter, the alumni president, and then it was another former past president there as well. So we're there. We're here today, going to the function today, out at amongst the Jaguar Nation and everybody else to really raise funds for the program. But everything is not about raising funds. It's community service. It's community outreach. I believe in service. I believe in my coach, Coach Joe Thornton. He was my high school track coach. He was the second fastest man in the world to Bullet Bob Hayes from Norfolk State University. He used to tell me all the time, he said, T, you have an obligation and a responsibility to uplift those that have come behind you. And he said that to me when I was, as a matter of fact, I wasn't even in high school then. My sister was running track, and I used to go to track practice with her. And he used to say that to me when I was a young boy. And then he started saying it to me when I was in high school, and of course when I'm coaching even today. And that resonates with me, and not just him, but a lot of my parents, other family members, other coaches. And so you will always see me, you will see us out in the community doing outreach. You also see us out and about. I'm not one that shies away. I'm a people person first and foremost. And Coach Frederick, we always on me. We go to dinner every night, and he always on me talking about he can't go nowhere with me because everybody knows me, or everybody talks to me the whole nine. So, I've always said I'm a social butterfly. So that's what I do. Do that. Definitely talking about my fundraiser, the Graves edition. That's going well. We need everybody to support Lottie Dot and everybody. We need all Knights to give, Grambling Knights, Jacksonians, Bulldogs, Hornets. If y'all support this, we need Lottie Dot and everybody to give to the Graves edition. To enhance the great student experience program here at Southern University. It's tax deductible. Your employee also can match the funds that you give. It's really to enhance the student athlete experience, nutrition. My plan and goal is when we travel, we will take these young men to different historical sites that will help change their minds, open their eyes to some things that they may not know. We've done that in the past at other institutions. We've gone to the Civil Rights Museums in Little Rock, Arkansas, and Jackson, the Mega Everett's House. We walked the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We've gone to the Book Depository in Dallas. We've gone to the Holocaust Museum in Dallas. It's not just African American. We've gone to the museum in Montgomery, and we've done a lot of different things. And we've even gone to the B.B. King Museum in Indianola because we try to give them a different. We want to give them a variety of experiences to help them, and it's been a blessing because they don't know it at times. And when you show them and expose them to, I'll give you a great example. Case in point, we took them to the Central High School and the Civil Rights Museum in Little Rock last year. And those guys it was a number of guys stuck around the rotary telephone. And they were flabbergasted. And they were like, Coach, do you know how to use this? I was like, yeah. And so they said, well, Coach, how do you do it? And I showed them how to actually, how you had to dial with the numbers and the whole nine. And they were looking at, and they were astonished. It's like, Coach, you had to do all that to make a phone call? I said, yeah, that's what you did. I said, that before you got these cell phones. And they were astonished. But that right there made a difference. It opened their eyes to something. I say, guys, I mean, you know, they had that. This was the phone. If you want to talk on the phone, this is what. And then it sparked a whole bunch of conversation. We talked about party lines and call waiting, because at one time it wasn't call waiting. If the line was busy, you had to wait till the line got unbusy and stuff like that. And then you get a chance to sit down and talk to them and share the things that you experienced and how you lived and how you were brought up. And they get a great appreciation for it. And then they go home and talk to their parents and grandparents or whomever. And then they talk to one another and they laugh. And, you know, they make you seem like you are 1,000 years old. But, you know,
yeah,
we did the same things when we were players. So, I mean, that's part of it. And to have that opportunity, those things away from football, you can't put a price tag on. And that's what it's all about. And so we try to do that. And that's what, you know, the Graves Editions is about, to primarily make sure that those guys have what they need on and off campus, on the road, at home, and as well as enhancing the program. So it's on the website. It's a direct link to the foundation. And again, I have it on my social media pages, and you can definitely look it up and see what the Graves Edition is all about. Once again, I thank you all for this platform and this time. It's always a pleasure to come on and talk with you guys, and it was good to talk about a little basketball today, especially talking about the Knicks, Carlos.
Are they gonna win Game 4? That's what I want to know.
Game 4, baby. Game 4 and one more.
Yeah. and also, Coach Graves, before we let you go, we're gonna run your football camp. I think you got 2 of them,
right?
And I'm also proud to say that the show will sponsor 2 student athletes to go to your camp. We did it last year for Southern's camp and the previous coach. So yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna get that out for you as well.
Well, the first camp is of course, is Coach Terrence Graves, the inaugural Elite Jaguar camp. It's for the 9th grade to 12th grade. That's on June the 15th, and that's $45, and that's cash, check, money order, whatever. I don't really want the checks, but I'll take all the cash and money. And then on the 29th of June, we'll have what we call our little Jaguar camp, and our little Jaguar camp will be for the little guys that are and girls from ages 5 to the ages of 11. It's 11, isn't it, Coach Frederick? So I had to ask my camp liaison. He does it all. Coach Frederick is my camp liaison. He's the guru of camp. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If I say something wrong, he's gonna look at me and correct me. So I had to ask. But we'll have a little Jaguar camp, and I think it's important because, like I said, to bring the young people up on campus, the little ones, you want to plant the seed early. You never know what impact that you're gonna have on their lives. We'll have our players out there coaching as well as us, and somebody's lives will be changed because of that opportunity. So June will be a big month for our camps. June 15th, the elite camp for the high school guys, and then June 29th will be our little Jaguars camp.
And it'll be here.
University.
Yes, sir. And it'll be here before you know it. Coach Graves, you and the staff, safe travels back to the 225 Baton Rouge. We appreciate it. Go Knicks. I'm gonna be tuning into that one. And my Heat, they're not gonna win the series, but hey.
Nah. As Charles Barkley said, 1, 2, 3, Cancun.
All right, Coach Graves. It's been a pleasure. Go Knicks, go Heat.
Go Jags.
All right, and go Jags. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun. That was fun. You know, I've never won as much success for a coach as Coach Graves.
Yeah.
I mean, truly a good guy. Truly a good guy. Now, swag baseball report. Last week I had a person in the chat room say, "Come on, Carlos, you're only giving us 10 minutes of baseball." Guess what? It'll be the same this week as well, about 13 minutes. And if I would have taken a timeout, it would have been less than that. Southern baseball. I know Charles, Will, and Coach Pettaway, you talked about, well, you know, they're still in the conversation. This team has been consistent on one thing, being inconsistent. Perfect example. Here we go again. 5-4-3-2-1. Defeated LSU. Next weekend series, lose 2 or 3 to UAPB. Then they sweep Grambling State University. Good thing. Then last week, lose 4 straight to Texas Southern. I don't know what else to think. You can tell me all you want. They're in the conversation. Oh, and by the way, a big 13-1 victory over Prairie View yesterday. So they've been in the Texas area about a week. Consistently inconsistent. Pitching, bullpen. You never know what happens. They may win the series against Prairie View this weekend. Charles, it's been tough. It has been tough. But that's baseball. In the conference, FAMU, pretty doggone good. Texas Southern is hot as fish grease right now. They were beating Grambling 9-6, and it got delayed. Boy, the rest of the season is going to be interesting in that swag baseball tournament. Southern could go there and win it all, or they could go 0-2, and they're bounced out of the tournament. What say you, Charles?
Yeah, I mean, this is about as wide open as it gets. You know, typically in the years past, you can determine a Western Division winner, and you say they're red hot, and then an Eastern Division winner. It's been Jackson State or Alabama State; they're red hot, but you just don't know. Right now on the Eastern side, it's the Florida team, Florida A&M. You got Bethune-Cookman. Jackson was sitting at 9-9. No one's talking about them, at least at this point, but they could get hot. And then Texas Southern. I mean, I saw a video of Mike Robb firing up the team before their games. That's kind of a ritual, I think. And now, you know, this was the team last year. Mike Robb didn't know he was going to take to Atlanta last year. He was so disappointed in terms of just the fire and the passion. But I think they lost to Lamar the other day. But, you know, Texas Southern was one of the hottest teams. Prairie View was one of the hottest teams, Carlos, until Southern knocked them off yesterday. So who knows what's going to happen in this tournament. And that's what makes it frustrating in a sense if you're a baseball purist. But that's what makes it exciting if you're not, because you don't know which one of those 8 teams is going to win it. Anyone can get hot in the tournament. And, you know, Southern University, a yo-yo, a roller coaster up and down. I just wish we were in that boat, Carlos. We've been playing a little better, but we're not winning any games. And it's just frustrating. I just preach patience for Braves fans. I like Coach Williams. I think if people got to know him, I think you will too. But this SWAC baseball race is wide open as far as the tournament. Who knows who's going to win the divisions? But I think once we get to Atlanta, it's anybody's ball game.
Let me do this. Let me add Morgan Williams. How could I forget about Morgan? Our baseball guy we talk with. If we can add him, Melanie, because he's waiting patiently, and there he goes. I apologize, Morgan. I truly apologize. How are you this afternoon?
Good. You miss 1 week and you just get left in the queue, I guess.
I apologize. I really do. Go ahead, swag baseball.
Well, swag baseball. I know a couple of weeks ago I made a prognostication that wasn't too popular with everyone. I was riding the fact that I anticipated Jackson State getting hot, and I was looking forward to this weekend specifically because they have Florida A&M coming into town, and I thought they were going to turn it around and get close and get ready to take the division. But that is not looking too good right now. I know yesterday they lost 9-5, so they're showing cracks. I was big on Jackson State, but I know I'd seen some comments that I don't give FAMU enough praise for what they've done, their program. And with that being said, I am on the Bethune-Cookman bus now.
Richard say he went to Bethune, not over FAMU. Huh?
No. I also want to point out one of Bethune's players, alumni, Anthony Maldonado, yesterday made his major league debut with the Marlins against the Nationals. 3 innings pitched, scoreless, 2 strikeouts. So that is a SWAC alum doing big things in Major League Baseball. So I want to make sure we mention that.
Yes, sir. That's huge. That really is. By the way, Bethune-Cookman over Alabama A&M 20-3.
I left that out for a reason.
I understand. I understand, and it's Morgan. It's on my first score there. Sorry about that, Coach Pettaway and Morgan. Southern over Purview, and this yesterday scores 13-1. Pine Bluff, is that correct? At Willie Rat McGowan Stadium, 9-7. Charles,
yeah,
a moral victory, 9-7. Mississippi Valley State loses to Alabama State 16-2, and of course, FAMU over Jackson State 9-5, and delayed Texas Southern and Grambling. Richard, Texas Southern, I said earlier, they are extremely hot. They're playing very well. You can almost see a scenario now if the tournament started today. 1 against 4, 2 against 3. So with that being said, FAMU would take on who's in 4th place in the West. Would that be Prairie View?
That is Prairie View, yeah. Southern in 3rd, Prairie View in 4th.
I'm still trying to grasp my mindset around Southern being so inconsistent. Have you been on a team that had been that consistent? World beaters one weekend, next weekend they drop tremendously.
It's hard. Baseball is a game. Unlike, say, football, I know Coach Pettaway saying the same thing in basketball. You have to get it up every day.
Yep.
So even in college baseball, you have your midweek games that you have to play out of conference, and then you got to get ready for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it takes a lot mentally to get through a 50 to 60 baseball game season in college. And it's hard enough for professionals to do it. I made the example of look at the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're spending $1 billion on players in this past offseason and just had a 4-game skid. Lost a series to the lowly Nationals. So it happens. No matter what level you're on, it's just where will they be when the conference begins, when the playoffs begin.
Carlos, our baseball coach said baseball is probably the only sport in which you can fail at it 70% of the time and be a millionaire. You know what that means? You can hit 300 and you're going to be a millionaire. You failed 70% of the time, but yet you're filthy rich. So that's what makes baseball to me unique. And Coach, I didn't know that just thinking about it, but he brought up a good point.
Not even just a millionaire, a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Well, that may be one of the sports you probably get into. If you're looking at, you don't have to have good percentages, but like Coach Pettaway in basketball, it's like, what have you done for me lately? And the landscape of college athletics now, they kid me. I don't know why, but they kid me about 2-year contracts given across the board. in this sense of entitlement generation. Now, Coach Pettaway, you got to win and win quickly.
Yep.
And I just say, Richard, for Southern University, the days of 5-year contracts, basically you don't see it. Now, I think Willa Brown, we call him AK hardliner. I think he would be on board with giving less than 5 years. I think Charles would give 6 years if he could.
No.
If he was an AD. Oh, yes, you
I'm
would.
at
Yes,
least
you would.
4. I'm at
Yeah.
least 4, Carlos. At least 4. At least 4. At least 4.
You gotta get a recruiting class through there.
Now, Richard, they gave me a hard time about because I said 2-year contract. Nobody in America that has a family would want to sign a 2-year contract. But that's the way it is. But, you know,
I said it a couple of weeks ago. That's a hard sell for a coach. You don't have time to get your guys in and get them developed. You have to give them, in a perfect world, 4 years to get that first class in, show that he's making positive gains and has a clear identity of what he wants his program to be. And that's difficult coming into Southern. They've had success. The past coaching regime looms large over them. And he has to make his own way.
I.e. Carrick Jackson. By the way, I got a chance to see him at Missouri. Ooh, it was a tough loss. But, you know, some people, guys, they're still angry about they thought more could have been done to keep Carrick Jackson at Southern University. So it's tough, man, being an AD coach. Charles, you have a puzzle. Look on your face.
Yeah. No, I think, you know, again, and we got a former athletic director that's here. That's tough. I mean, all you can do is put your best foot forward. And maybe at that time, maybe they put their best foot forward, but it may not have been enough. You know, because Southern baseball, I mean, look at all the championships Cador won. And I think that's why there's pressure at Southern because they've had such great success in all the championships Cador won. That's long behind us now, but the expectation is still that Southern's still near the cream of the crop in baseball. So I think the pressure, whomever comes behind Cador, whether it was Carrick Jackson or this coach or the next coach, there's always going to be pressure there for Southern baseball, as well as Jackson State, now Florida A&M, Texas Southern, because Mike Robbs won. So I just think there's just pressure because you've had a great deal of success with some of these coaches in baseball.
Well, we've got 2 minutes left, but a quick answer. Coach Pettaway, you first. In light of the Southern culture, could you say if time was different, could you coach at Southern University right now?
Yes, I could still
knew it. I knew it, Coach Pettaway. I knew you would. Will, could you be AD at Southern? Charles, could you work at Southern?
Definitely. With those resources, I mean, you got one of the top budgets in the SWAC. Who wouldn't want that? You know, I mean, number one or number two in terms of budget. You know, so the pieces are there. There's no doubt about that. You know, it's a matter of putting together a decent plan to utilize all those pieces, and then let's move forward, see where we are from there.
On that note, we're out of time. Have a great one, everyone. Next Saturday at 11 a.m. for another edition of the Carlos Brown Show. Peace and God bless.